Hello everyone, it is week 5 of the Three Rivers Challenge, our pantry challenge, and as you all remember, last week we did breakfast, so this week I'm showing you our lunch and dinner. But if you are new to our channel, we are the Canny Couple. I'm Julia, Aaron's behind the camera, and we are a small homestead family of 3 who work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality in rural Virginia. And this week I'm really focusing on a super easy, simple meal straight from our pantry. Like, everything is coming from our pantry, and I would say, gosh, at least 80% of this is all stuff that I can and already had on hand or I had made. So let's get to it and let me tell you what we're making. So for lunch, we are going to be making a potato soup. So let me go ahead. And then for dinner, we are making a Mexican pasta dish. Now this is a dish that Aaron and Isabel really like. I like it too, but it's hard for me to eat. And we'll talk about that in a minute and how I make it palatable for me. Because I'm a picky eater, but Aaron and Isabel really do like it, so we don't eat it very often because it is hard for me to get past some things on it, but they enjoy it a lot. So potato soup. So what I've done here is I've already started sauteing celery and butter, and this is homegrown celery. We were able to grow celery. This is Utah celery. So we cannot find celery in our area. And we have tried to grow it from seed a few times.
Just haven't had any luck.
No luck. And we know it's very hard to grow from seed. We've tried a few different varieties. And everything we see, it's like you've got a 20% chance of success. You've got like a germination rate.
Yeah.
The germination rates are so low.
So some of these we're buying from a place probably 2.5 hours away or so that start the seedlings and then shipped it to us. So we had all this last year that we put up preserved in the freezer.
This is 2 cups. But it's very strong. This is not eating celery. Aaron, I cut it once for him to eat.
It's stronger, yes.
It's very, very strong. So I did it in 1 cup portions, put it in the freezer, and that worked out really well for us. I use it for like cream of celery soup, for like stuffing. That worked out really well. It was very good. But I thought it would be really good here for potato soup. Now, potato soup, I usually like to have carrots and celery. I don't have carrots, but celery will be fine. So I have celery, I have butter. If you have bacon grease, I would add bacon grease here too. But I did add about 7 tablespoons of butter. Now, I have 2 quarts of home canned potatoes. I'm going to put those in here. I drained them, I washed them. I did not get all the starches off of them, but I got most of them off.
Yeah, as you know, we can our potatoes, so
we're just going to throw those in there. And then I'm going to start throwing in some broth. So I went ahead and, pre-opened these before the video. And I've got some quarts here. Quart and 2 pints of broth. And I've got a lot more broth to make. So before you all are like, Julia, you're using so much broth.
She's got so much.
I've got so much broth. I've got so many turkeys in the freezer. Now I've got so much broth to make. And then this actually came from the chicken I'm about to use here. So instead of wasting it like I would normally have just given it to the chickens, I was like, hey, I'll just throw it into the soup that I'm making. And it's okay that it's chicken and turkey. That does not matter. I feel like people get overly sensitive about mixing these things or thinking that you can't put turkey broth in these things. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to put in a can of evaporated milk. This is mostly shelf stable. If you leave out the cheese, it's going to be like 100% shelf stable. Well, the celery was in the freezer. And the
Well,
butter.
if you make it a time of year, you have it, you know.
I'm going to add salt. My potatoes are not salted. Now, I was salting potatoes and I stopped salting the potatoes because Aaron felt they were too salty
Yes.
whenever I would cook them. So I stopped salting them. So I salt, pepper. Now, what kind of pepper is this, Aaron?
This is wild peppercorn. So it's not like your black pepper or anything like that. It's completely different. We got this through the same place that we get our vanilla from, and we've actually got some cinnamon through them as well.
And this is roasted garlic and herb seasoning, and I'm going to use this for some croutons that we're going to put make to go with our soup here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to give this a quick stir. And we're just going to let this cook. And now, what I'm going to use to help thicken this up, we're going to let this cook. And this will cook for a while. And once this cooks for a while, what we're going to do is I'm going to add a block of cheddar cheese. And then I also have a half of a block of cream cheese I'm going to throw in here because I need to use it. It's been sitting in my refrigerator. It's still good. It's perfectly fine. It was one I had actually bought when everything was on sale in December because it has had a long shelf date. Because we were getting really good deals on cream cheese. I actually had there was a really smoking good deal this week on cream cheese, but you had to buy 5. So it was not that good of a deal because I had to buy 5 of them to get the deal. So I could not justify buying 5 cream cheeses at that price. But now I'm going to do 2 cups. We're going to start off with 2 cups of these instant potatoes to thicken this up, to get rid of them. Aaron's giving me a look. You're not seeing the look he's giving me. I need to get rid of these mashed potatoes. Aaron, it'll be fine. You're not even going to be able to tell they're there.
I don't even remember why we had those.
They were emergency, but we got to eat them up. We bought them. We need to eat them, so we need to eat them up. They're fine. We'll eat them up, and it'll be fine. It's a good way to get rid of it. This is a great way to get rid of it. I actually might use another cup. And this is a great way to actually get this box down a little bit, because this is one of those things I wanted to actually have gone by the end of the pantry challenge. I want this box of instant potatoes gone. Completely, 100% gone. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw in the bacon bits. Now, bacon bits. I'm not going to throw in a lot. Aaron does not like a lot of bacon bits in soup. He will do a little bit, but he won't do a lot. Aaron could go vegan. He could. He could go vegetarian on me. I could not. So when we have like beef stew or anything, like Aaron's seriously giving me the meat. Like, I will seriously give myself all the meat and give Aaron all the vegetables, because we just work that way. And I know a lot of other families are the complete opposite. Like, the men want the meat and the women want the vegetables, but we're not. I want the meat. Aaron wants the veggies.
I have to have it not so chewy.
And I try.
I know, you do. But that's my thing.
That's what he says. If it's chewy, that's why I have to just do a little bit of bacon bits, and that's why they have to cook in here. And you can't just stick them on top at the beginning. They have to cook in there, just a few, or they get chewy. So we're going to let this cook about 30-40 minutes. I'm going to add all the cheese, and when we come back, we'll see what it tastes like, and we'll do a taste test, and it'll be okay. It will be a serviceable lunch. What will be really good are going to be the croutons on top, and that's what he's going to like.
Sure.
But it will be edible, and it'll be a great way to get rid of a lot of stuff that was in our pantry. Maybe he'll like it better than he thought he did. But I'm not counting on it. My towel fell on the floor. Per usual. Okay. Now, got my pasta cooked, ready to go. We're going to turn it on low, and we're going to start adding in our ingredients. So I've got 1 can of drained corn here. My final thing of this sausage, this god-awful sausage.
That's sausage patties we can.
Those sausage patties, this was it. This was it. The last one. I told Aaron, I said this was the last one, I think. I'm pretty sure. We were very careful when we put all of these up to make sure I put them in order and organized, and those were up front. So I'm pretty certain those were the very last ones. I've got chicken. Now, normally I would not mix chicken with sausage patties, but I'm trying to get rid of those. Sausage, I would do hamburger and sausage or something like that, but this is a really good meal with chicken. We usually use this with chicken, and it should be just fine. It will taste just fine. I don't mind mixing meat. I don't mind mixing chicken and sausage. I don't mind doing ground chicken and ground sausage. I don't mind doing turkey and sausage. It's never really bothered me. Does it bother you, Aaron?
No.
But I know a lot of people that would bother. So this is really a meal, whatever meat you think is going to taste good. I would tell you sausage does really well with Mexican, so I would go with something like that. I'm going to do a can of beans. I just canned black beans this week. So we're going to get these out. And this is just starch. If you see those little pieces of white, all that is starch. I did not drain these. I don't need to drain these. They'll do just fine. My little one saw me doing these. She's like, ooh, rice and beans. Like, yes, little one. Rice and beans. That's what Mommy's doing these for. You to have rice and beans. I'm in trouble. She knows. She could tell. So if you're wondering why I have a Band-Aid on, my favorite knife in the whole wide world.
The one she was bragging about last week.
Yeah, my bread knife. I cut myself with it. Yeah. Just sliced my finger right open. So I did 2 boxes of pasta. Depending on how much you're fixing this for, you could do 1 box of pasta, 1 small thing of beans, 1 can of chicken, or, you know, a couple things of chicken, depending on how many people you're trying to feed. But these were 2 12-ounce boxes of pasta. And this was that good fiber or good now pasta, whatever brand that was. I will let you know how the penne does. The macaroni did amazing on meal prep. Normally, pasta is one of those things where hit or miss on meal prep. Sometimes it will fall apart. Like certain brands will fall apart. Corn-based pasta, like if you're looking at like gluten-free, just does not do well. We've gotten that before just because it was on sale. We've had some that just does not last at all. But the macaroni one held up so well. But this one's supposed to be 9 grams of protein, 4 times more fiber. I really like the macaroni one. What did you think of it?
What did we have the macaroni one in?
The spaghetti, darling.
Yes, it held up better than usual. Yes, I was like, I don't know what we're talking about.
It's been a few weeks. Okay, so now we are going to add salsa and tomatoes. So as you can see, my salsa, it doesn't look like salsa. It looks like tomato sauce. So I ran it through the immersion blender because
She don't like onions, so she doesn't.
Or peppers.
She doesn't like to taste those.
Or see them.
Or see them is what it mostly is.
Oh, I don't want to taste them. If I see it or taste it, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. You cannot hide it from me. You can't cook it down enough for me. My mom tried. She tried. And failed. I love her to death, but she tried and failed. And this is why I don't have onions and things like that in my house. Just because we don't. I cook for what I like, what we like. And if Aaron and Isabel decide they want it, we can have it, but it's going on the side. I don't want to pick at my food.
So you're wondering, how does she eat salsa normally? She will pick around all of that.
I put it on the chip.
So basically, I get all the goodness.
I put it on the chip and then knock it all off.
So when she's done with hers, I'm like, oh, I have a whole nother bowl full.
But he has to wait like an hour before he gets it. It takes a really long time before he gets any of it. So I went through all of everything before he could have it. I went through all the jars before all this started, got all of them, through the immersion blender. I had a little bit left in one from this week. Just a small amount from our meal this week I wanted to use up, and then ended up opening one of these other jars. And then I'm going to throw in 1 can of tomatoes that we home canned, and then I'm also going to throw in the rest of my taco seasoning. So I will have to make taco seasoning, which isn't that big of a deal. I'm happy to make us taco seasoning to keep it on hand. And I make it in bulk. I usually will try to make enough to do at least half a jar, if not the whole jar. So I'll go ahead and throw that in there. You're like, Julia, why would you do the whole jar? I want to make sure it's flavorful. This is one of the reasons why eating in bigger meals, making bigger meal plan, bigger meal prep works for my family better than it does a lot of others. When you have a more flavorful meal, your family is more likely to actually eat the meal.
Remember, this is a week's worth
of meals, probably more than that, because I've actually had a lot of leftovers. We're actually going to be showing you all that. We will be having leftovers for lunch here in the next couple weeks. Also saw I have rice pudding in the freezer. So guess what we're going to be having for breakfast?
Okay, I didn't know we had that.
Yep. So I have a jar of this. And then what we will do is we'll top it off with cheese. Now, I cannot add cheese straight to the pot like I would normally do.
For some reason, the
little one does not like cheese on her food.
She'll eat it on the side.
But she won't eat it on her food.
If she sees, like how cheese melts and gets a little stringy. If she sees that, she's like, I'm done.
And she won't even touch it after that.
Yeah, won't touch it for the rest of the week.
She will not touch it for the rest of the week. But if she doesn't see that, she's fine.
Right.
She's perfectly fine. Now, I have a little bit of pasta water I pulled out before all this started. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in there. And the only reason I pulled that out was to help all of this goodness stick. And we're just going to let this sit and put it on low and let it simmer while our soup here is cooking. And this is the spoon I originally used here. And I'm going to check the soup here. It's already starting to get a little thick. It smells good. I kind of spilled it out a little bit. Okay, so croutons. This is probably one of Aaron's favorite things that I make with leftover bread. He likes stuffing, but he loves croutons. So you all remember a couple of days ago, I made all that bread, or a couple weeks ago, I made all that bread. Well, I still had 2 hoagie rolls left over. These are those 2 hoagie rolls. So that is what this is. A lot of people make croutons. I'm going to tell you, croutons are so easy. They're not really complicated. It's really whatever seasoning you like. And the biggest thing is you don't even have to use oil. If you have like a Harvest Dry freeze dryer, a lot of people make croutons in their Harvest Dry freeze dryers, and you can't use oil in a Harvest Dry freeze dryer. You have to use a broth to get it to stick. The main thing is getting the liquid to stick. So you don't have to use a lot of oil. I will probably end up using most of what's left in this, but I'm going to try just olive oil. Yeah, this is olive oil. But you don't take a lot of it, and all you're just trying to do is just coat and toss. So I poured the rest of this garlic and herb, and that's the main thing for us, is just making sure I get all of the seasoning on and getting everything covered. Now, if you have bacon grease, you can melt some bacon grease and throw in there. And all your oil will go to the bottom of the bowl. And you just give it a quick toss. And you don't even have to do super dry bread. My bread's not really dry. It didn't get super dry. But because it will dry whenever I put it in the little convection oven, it will dry out some more. All I need it to do is to have enough oil to help the stuff coat to it and stick the seasoning, and they will turn into wonderful croutons. Croutons are not hard to make at all. But I have somebody who is a crouton junkie, lover, addict.
Before we started getting, I don't know, we might have had a Pantry video years ago, you know, that sort of showed it in there where it was like rows and rows of bulk croutons. Well, you know, stopped buying them because of the ingredients and got away from those and everything. But yeah, that's what I would have as a snack, just eat croutons.
And took the last little bit of that, which is fun. And it didn't need any more than that. A lot of people use more. I don't like to use a lot of oil because I feel like you can get too much oil in your croutons. When you get too oily, I feel like they can go bad more faster. And they don't hold up as well, like lengthwise for storage. I prefer to use a lot less oil in my croutons. As little as I can get away with. I try to push that boundary. How little oil can I use in my croutons? And this, to me, is just right. Just enough oil. They're kind of coated. You can see all of my pieces have a little bit of seasoning. So I have my pan here. I'm actually going to use my convection oven. And I don't need to put anything on it. This pan works really well for that.
And using the convection oven because it uses less electricity
than the conventional oven.
The conventional oven does.
And I don't need the conventional oven today. I don't have anything else to go in it. Are you excited?
Oh, yes.
You can't snack on these. These are for lunch.
I know.
These are for your lunch. You and Isabel will have to share. Because you know she's going to want to try these.
I know. And how long do you put these in for?
So I will put these in probably for 3 at 300 for about 30 minutes. If they're not done then I will keep adding 10 minutes until they are completely dry. Once they turn like a golden brown color, sometimes they get a little darker on the side, just till they're really dry. You can kind of start to tell when they get really crisp and look like a crouton from a bag. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that same look. You can go smaller in size. I tend to go different sizes in between. So you're just looking for that crispness. But going single layer definitely helps. But go 300 in that little convection oven, and just letting it sit and just keeping an eye on them and watching it very closely. Because once they get close, you just have a very small window and they will burn. A very small window and they will burn. So you just kind of watch very carefully. So we're going to put this in. We're going to let our soup cook. We're going to let this warm up. By the time we come back, everything is going to be done. And we will be ready to show you what everything looks like. So we'll see you here in just a few minutes and Aaron will taste test.
Okay, we are back here with the final product. So here's a little bit of the soup with croutons. As you can see, the croutons are very crispy now. So let's try this first. This is the one I'm more concerned about. As you know, I'm getting a big crouton to begin with.
I wouldn't be concerned. It's fine.
Somebody's upset because I'm eating.
She went and got her cheese.
So, okay, that ain't bad.
It's not bad. It's just fine.
I like that.
It's better than you thought it was.
It was. Definitely better than I thought. So, supper here.
And did you see Aaron's has peppers and hot sauce on it?
That is good. That's really good. And then we have, for breakfast, we were having
The oatmeal.
the oatmeal. So, as you can see, great meals for this week. You know, I'm going to really enjoy the supper. So, you know, go over and check out our link tree with all of our other content. And
As always, thank you for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.